light up the stage. We're talking about a man who is a 6-time boxing champion, 3-time provisional champion, 2-time Gold Glove winner, fighting out of Toronto, Canada, coming to the stage in black trunks with black trim. We are talking about my guy, Just Isaac.
Those few misses on the skit was intentional. I normally don't miss, but I wanted to use that as an illustration. And we go into things and we might not expect the outcome. We might not expect failure. We might not expect to get tripped up. My name is Just Isaac. I was born in Western New York. I'm a kid from the projects. I was really, really poor. Grew up in a poverty-stricken area. I had holes in my shoes and my sneakers. And I remember I used to feel the heat from the concrete when I would curl my toes. You know, my family was so poor that we stood in free cheese lines. I remember taking the wrapper off the cheese box. It was plastic. We were so poor that I had to sprinkle sugar on it, and I chewed it and made it gum. So I lived in the projects, as I mentioned, and it was a lot of things that were working against me from the very beginning. I was 11 years old. One time I remember I was standing in front of the house, and a guy that I know pulled up on his moped, and he handed me a gun at 11 years old. And I took the gun in my hand, and I remember the weight of the gun, what it felt like. I remember it was like, man, this is hot. And he actually had just used it. I took the gun, and he said, I want you to hide this for me. And that was my first time being involved in criminal activity without even knowing it. And my innocence was broken. I grew up from a broken family. And maybe there's somebody here today that you have a broken family. That, you know, maybe you've experienced domestic violence. Maybe you saw it was so violent that it affects you in your relationships even today. So as time went on, you know, I was in school and I was bullied at the bus stop, bullied in school. I was put into karate, mixed martial arts at a very young age, and I was very shy, very timid. And then I didn't really have it in my nature to just hurt people. There's an old saying that they say, hurt people. That's not necessarily true. There are people that are in this audience that are just incredible stories. And as I look into your eyes and you've shared with me the things that you have experienced in your life, the things that have hurt you, but yet you're still here. You're still here in this place, even. You've traveled from afar. So I'm looking and I'm saying to myself that at a very young age, what is my purpose in life? Why am I living? And I remember playing a video game and I said, who is God? Who is God? And where is he? And why? And how? Like, what is my purpose for living? So time went on. And I started to get a little older and I started to see people that were with me were getting killed, getting shot. And my dad was actually a gangster. He had the bullet mark on his head, his forehead, from when he got shot in the head and he missed the bullet. My dad. My mom was involved as well. And as time went on, I did not know what was going to happen with my life in my innocence. My dad, he told me, he said, listen, son, because word got back to him. I was on the streets and I joined a gang and I was running the streets and and I was doing a lot of bad stuff, and I carried a gun, and my dad found out about it. My dad's an OG, and he looked at me and he said, listen, son, you're going to have a different life. He said, I better not hear about you out there, involved in gang activity. Now, my dad, I was more afraid of him than I was the police. Okay? He said, you need to get into something constructive. I said, okay. I knew I had to find something. So he had me in mixed martial arts. So then I began to get involved in boxing. I went to the community center. They had a thing called sparring. That's when you go in the ring with different people. So I'm sparring, and as I'm sparring, they put me in with men, and I was just a kid. And long story short, I was getting beat up in the gym. It was pretty brutal. I had actually an audience that came out to see me, but they didn't come out to see me win. They came out to see me get beat up in the gym. Look at this guy getting beat up. So time went on, and then parents broke up. I ended up going to Canada, and I ended up training there in Canada, and I found a gym, and I kept boxing. I started boxing, then I started saying, you know what, maybe there's something to this. Maybe I can have set some goals. So I started training, and I got in the gym, and you know what, I'm gonna be honest with you, but as I was in the gym, I seen people working really hard. I said, well, I don't have to work that hard. I gotta work hard, but not that hard. I see guys working and skipping and doing their thing. And as time went on, I looked and I said, I wanted to set a goal to have a fight. So I went out to get my first fight. I invited all my people. Now you gotta picture this. I had some beautiful shorts. These shorts were fly. I was like, yeah, I'm going out there looking good. Had a nice gear, nice gloves. And I remember standing in the change room. And I remember I watched the Rocky movies. Anybody here watch the Rocky movies? Okay. So there we go. I'm looking good, and I'm ready to go out, and I'm ready to box, and I'm ready to fight. This is my first fight. I walked out, I was like, yeah, no. So all my family there, all my friends. And I said, yeah! So I get out there, and I'm standing by the ring. And this guy's standing there, and he's bouncing. And he has craters in his face. He was bulky, short and stocky. Came out, first round. My lights got knocked out. I didn't even know what was going on. I said, this is not what it's supposed to be like. What is happening right now? So this guy is giving me the left, and give me the right, give me the uppercut, give me the right, give me the left. And listen, I want to tell somebody today, listen, in life, there are things that are happening within business, within relationships, within different aspects of our life, but you have to understand that it's a fight at times. So what do I mean by that? Sometimes it's a fight that's unexpected. Sometimes you may be in a relationship, and all of a sudden that relationship doesn't go the way you expect, and you get your lights knocked out. You go to an event and you say, man, this is going to happen, and I'm expecting this to happen, but you get your lights knocked out. Were you prepared? Were you prepared for what was going to happen? So time went on in the ring, and basically, long story short, this guy, his name was David Hook. Who fights anybody named David Hook? When I found out his name afterward, I said, what was the guy's name that beat me up? I'm in the change room, I'm sitting there, and I'm bawling, and I'm crying, and my family's there, and my friends are there, and everybody was there. Listen, I had it in my mind that I was going to shine that day. I was going to be like, yeah, I'm the man. But you know what it did to me? It produced something in me that prosperity can never produce. It produced a thing that's called humility. It produced an awareness of work ethics. It produced an awareness of when we navigate through different places, we have to be prepared. So what happened was, as time went on, I'm in the change room, I'm crying. I was so embarrassed, I didn't want to go out. I stayed in the change room until the last person left. And I went home. So everybody at the school knew that I was boxing, and it was my first fight. So I'm happy, I'm happy before before the fight, but when the fight happened, I wasn't so happy. I get in to school, and the kids are looking at me. The other students are looking at me, and they're like, how'd your fight go? I mean, word already got around. You know. I heard you got whipped. Yeah, I got whipped. I got beat up. So then, as time went on, I set some goals. Listen, my family said to me, give it up. They said to me, you think too much, you're a thinker. They said, you're too soft. He said, just give it up. Let your brothers box, let your brothers fight. You stick with karate. I said, no. My heart said no. So I said, I'm going to go into training. So I went into training. And listen, this helped me so much with the many different aspects of my life. Because in life, at times, you're going to go through things. You're going to go through adversity. You're going to go through opposition. You're going to experience things that you don't even know where you're going to turn. You don't know what you're going to do. But when you go and you're in the midst of those things that are transpiring, you got to know that we can call on God for help. So I called on God for help. I said, God, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And as time went on, I kept training. I was the first one in the gym. They used to walk into the gym, and all of a sudden they'd see me. They say, who is that? And they'd be in the dark, and they'd be just Isaac will be training in the dark by myself. It's a very lonely sport. And in life, there's so many parallels to this. So as time went on, I kept training. I was the first one in and the last one out. And then what happened was I lost my first fight, and then I lost another fight. And I said, this is not good. And you know what ended up happening? Instead, I have to revise my strategy at a very young age. I said, I need help. I need somebody to help me. I need somebody to help me to excel in this thing. So I ended up going to another coach. His name was Sugar Ray McGivern. He fought at Madison Square Garden. He was a bald-headed old man, and he was missing a finger. And Ray McGivern came in and said, how you doing, son? I said, I'm doing great. How are you? And I was kind of looking at him kind of strange because he had this little hair. He was bald-headed completely, but he had one little mole with a hair on it. And I was staring at him. I said, I'm pretty good. He said, you want to fight? I heard you're talented. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I'm not as talented as I look. And Ray took me in, and Ray began to teach me. He said, I'm going to show you how to turn on your shots. I'm going to show you how to punch. I'm going to show you how to fight. I'm going to show you how to do this. And listen, I came in full throttle, and I gave myself to this. I committed myself, and I said, I want to do this. And I gave myself, and I began to train. And all of a sudden, I began to win, and I began to win, and I began to win. And then all of a sudden, I set a goal. Now, I remember when I set that goal, the students in my class, they had no idea what was happening then because I was working, I was boxing, I was going to different places. They said to me, I said, I'm going to be. They said, so the teacher asked me, he said, so what do you want to be when you grow up? He was asking everybody. You know, one guy said, I want to be a fireman. I want to be a doctor. I want to be an NHL player. And then when they got to me, he said, what do you want to be? I said, I want to be a champion boxer one day. It'll never happen, the teacher said. There was actually a guy sitting next to me in his chair. He looked at me and said, he fell off the chair. He was laughing so hard. And he's on the ground pointing up, looking at me. And I'm in my seat looking at him. And I'm looking around the classroom, and all of a sudden the whole classroom burst out in laughter. So my heart at that time, it dropped. What did that experience mean? What was the purpose of that? The purpose of adversity is to reveal the greatness that's inside of us. You have greatness inside of you. Listen, it's evident that you have greatness inside of you. Some of you have come from afar. Some of you looked at the news and you saw the storm and the hurricane, like me. Saw the storm and the hurricane, and you were hesitant to even fly. Some of us live here and listen, and you made your way and you showed up. And you stuck to the very end. That's revealing the greatness that's inside of you. You showed up. You showed up in this place despite all the obstacles that you had to overcome. Despite Sometimes we are our own worst enemy. Our thoughts. Sometimes our thoughts will talk us out of, through our internal dialogue, it will talk us out of making a step towards greatness. But the greatness is inside of you. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. What does that mean? That means that the systems that drive the progress of humanity, who's inside of you is greater. God is inside of you. And that's what drew you here. It wasn't just the ambition and the success. It's not just money or just fame, but it's God that is drawing you into your greatness. You're connecting with horizontal alignment, and then there's vertical alignment. That means to be aligned. Vertical is with God and man, and horizontal is with us as people. So as time went on, and I kept boxing, and I kept winning, all of a sudden, I remember my first challenge for the national title. This guy came out, he looked like David Hope a little bit. So you can imagine what was going through my mind. Anybody ever go through something that looks familiar that you've been through? You've been through something that looks familiar. You're like, man, I remember what happened last time when I did that. That's the brain trying to protect you. But how many know we got to be led by the Spirit? We got to move beyond our fears, move beyond our insecurities, move beyond our struggles. And what you need is people that are in your life that believe in you, that help you, that speak good things into your life. So I have people that spoke good things into my life. Ray McGibbon. So I ended up boxing this guy from Montreal, and he was supposed to win the tournament. Long story short, when I hit him with the right hand, he fell face first, and he didn't get up. But in my spirit, inside of me, there was still something missing. You know, there was still something. I won the fight, and I was a national champion, and I was looking, and there was cameras everywhere, and people screaming my name, and I'm walking, and there was still an emptiness inside of me. And I'm coming here from a different dimension. A dimension is a posture of thought. That's how we see things. It's how you visualize and you see things, right? But then we have a thing that's called a paradigm where it begins to shift and you begin to see things from a different perspective. I realized that I needed to grow spiritually. I needed to grow not just spiritually, but intellectually, mentally. I was strong in my body, but my mind, it needed to be cultivated. So as time went on, I began to do things to align myself spiritually. You know, because Les said it today, it reminds me of where I was at then, that we got to keep growing. We got to keep developing. So, develop and grow, because once growth stops, decaying begins. So I began to train and listen, and I won the national title, I won 6 titles, and I said that was good. So now, after that, I said, man, what am I supposed to do next? What am I doing next? I began to listen to things. I began to listen to what are the problems that are happening within the world. How can I make a difference in somebody's life? What can I do to give of myself in service? I'm a servant. So as I came in and I began to look, I came into myself and I began to look within myself and to say, what is it that I need to do? What are you asking me to do, God? That vertical alignment. And I began to listen to music. I had a whole bunch of music that was just raw in the wrong way, that I was being consumed with. You know, what we process, what we take in, it does affect us. You agree with that?
Yes.
What you take in, it affects us. So I was listening to the wrong stuff, and I said, instead of being having a spirit of spectatorism, I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin to make music myself. I started making music. Listen, the guy that I signed a contract with, he breached the contract. He tried to take my money. Did I give up? I never gave up. People looked at me and said, it'll never happen. It'll never happen. You doing positive music, it'll never happen. I continue to believe and to press forward. And I'm going to share something with you what happened. I ended up doing shows. Long story short, I wrote and I dedicated myself and I made a decision that I'm going to go as far with this as I can. And what I want is, I want to be charted on radio, and I want to tour North America. And time went on, and I was blessed with the opportunity to travel North America. Here's a kid from the projects that was told he would never be anything, that my life was destined for failure. I was suicidal at one time. I tell you, before I really grasped my purpose, I wanted to die. Even while I started boxing, there was something in me that was just empty. I wanted to die. And somebody here today, listen, maybe you've been contemplating suicide. Maybe you've been contemplating taking your own life, thinking that the pain will go away. I'm going to tell you something. Your life is valuable. You take your own life in your own hands. You're killing yourself. You're not going to wake up in a good place. Because there's people that are in your life that are connected to you that are depending on you as well. See, you thought that it was all about you depending on other people. Yeah, I was diagnosed with manic depression. I was on pills. They had me drugged up. I didn't even know what was going on at times. I was on so many drugs. But as the time went on, I began to continue to reach out to God. I began to pray. I began to ask God, I need your help. I need you to help me through this. So God, with his infinite power, he reached down and he lifted me up. Listen, you don't have to hide your depression. You need to talk about it. You need to speak about it. And the greatest way to combat depression, what I found, is to help people. This is why I'm into servanthood. So I help people now. And depression is a spirit, and the spirit is an attitude. And as time went on, I overcame the depression. And I was on, it was crazy because I'm on the radio, I'm walking down the street, I'm on the radio, and I hear a car drives by, and I hear the radio in the car. And it has my songs playing. So I made that goal, and I ended up making the top 40 across the United States. I felt blessed to be able to share my story and to uplift people through music. So, time went on again, and I began to think to myself, see, what's happened with me is that God has brought me to a place where He's caused me to operate through multiple realms. See, a realm is a place. And I'm going somewhere with this. The realm is a place. A realm, right now, we're in the realm of motivational speaking. We're in the realm of business. And in realms, in order to enter into another realm, you have to go through a gatekeeper. You and I, we have to go through a gatekeeper. With boxing, there was people like Floyd Mayweather. I had to go through. He trained me. Hank Boom, different trainers that I had to go through in order to enter into that realm. Like, you look at gatekeepers like Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali was a gatekeeper. You think about music, there's Michael Jackson. There's different artists that made their way. Those are gatekeepers. We can never enter into another realm without going through a gatekeeper. So whatever it is that you're deciding to do, whatever it is that you want to do, you have to go through a gatekeeper. We have to. So what is it that you want to do? Who is in your life at this time? Do you have any gatekeepers in your life? In order to enter into the next realm, you have to look the way they look before you can enter in. You have to act the way they act and talk the way they talk before entering into another realm. Something that's powerful about that is that, listen, I've entered into another realm, to the yieldness of the human vessel. You've heard the messages. There's no way you didn't hear the messages this weekend. And I just want to encourage somebody today to give God a chance. Because He will bring you to higher heights and deeper depths. He will show you things that you never even imagined. I'm a 3-time author now. I wrote 3 books. The first book was the Why series. The next book was Think Fearlessly. Think Fearlessly, I reached over 100 million people globally. And now I'm in the process of Traffic Fight. Traffic Fight is a book that's fighting against human trafficking. I've had access to the most sensitive files in the country. And I've worked with children for many years, more than half my life. I didn't share this with you in the beginning, but I was molested by 2 women at a very young age. I was 7 years old. Did that change my view of women? Did I say that I'm going to hate women and I'm going to mistreat women? No, listen, there is a purpose for everyone. Men and women, you have a purpose. Children even have a purpose. Now please get this. Women, you're so beautiful. I want to tell you why. First off, you're objects of divine attention. And nobody can enter into this earth realm without entering into the womb of a woman. Nobody. You cannot enter into the earth without entering through the womb of a woman. So whatever woman that's in your life, men, any woman that's in your life, we ought to respect and love and protect women. So women are gatekeepers to life. Men, we're called to protect and to lead by example. Children, I've worked with children for many years. Children are people too. Well, you say, what does this have to do with success? What does this have to do with me advancing my business? Listen, it doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter how successful you may think you're being, the status quo, what the world's view of success is. If we don't have good character and God in our heart, we don't walk in integrity, life is meaningless. We need a purpose that is greater than ourselves. So I wanted to tell you today that this book, Traffic Fight, I was nervous about writing it. But I believe that there's a greater cause. I believe that there's a greater cause to write this book, and I had a vision. After writing Think Fearlessly, yes, I reached over 100 million people, but then when I went to write the next book, God paused me. I went into the window, and I looked out into the escarpment, and all of a sudden I saw a flash, I saw a vision. Please, pay attention to this. If you're connected to children, I saw all these children. I saw children that were chained up, children that were broken, that their freedom was taken, that they were violated, their human rights were violated. I saw women that were chained up and boys, and that's what happens with human trafficking. I'm wondering if you today that are here, you're brave, you're very brave, and you're courageous because you came here and you went through this process of the power of possibilities. But I wonder today if you will play your part and do something to contribute to the safety of children and women today. I'm wondering if you will take the courage that God has placed within inside of you and do something, just something to help. There's information out there. Because when it hits home, it hits hard. So this book that's called Traffic Fight, I saw, when I opened the files, some of the worst cases in the country, as I mentioned. And I bawled and I cried. And I said, somebody has to do a difference. Somebody has to do something to help. Help, serve. Somebody has to do something. We need a voice, an advocate. Somebody has to say something because there's little children that are being robbed of their innocence. So as time went on, this book, Traffic Fight, it's out now. It just came out in September. It's on Amazon, and it's a book. It's a fictional story. And what I've done is extracted all of my experiences and placed it into this book. And my prime objective in life is to just make a difference. You know, there's money, there's fame, there's all the things that the world has to offer. But we're living in a world that people are broken. People are dying, and the people need help. I tell you this, it's better to give than to receive. Whatever it is that you are called to do, whatever business that you have chosen to go into, if it has a component of helping someone, if it has a component of giving to someone, it's a good vision. It's a good vision. So, I started off today, and I don't know, this is a sobering message. This is not a swinging from the chandelier message, but I want you to leave here today remembering in your heart the children of the world and women that have been taken from their families. Your vision is important. Our vision is important. But what's more important is that we give to our vision, whatever your vision is. So I started off saying, I'm just Isaac. I want you to, on the count of 3, I want you to say your name. I just want you to speak your name into the atmosphere. Speak your name into the atmosphere. There is something that is connected to your name. Did you know that? Did you know that we shall decree a thing and it shall be established? And there's something that's connected to your name. When you speak your name into the atmosphere, there's something that's connected to when you speak your name. Whatever it is that we speak into the atmosphere, we have to speak nothing but positive things in relation to our name. So on the count of 3, I want you to just say your name. Just say it. 1, 2, 3. That was good, but I think we can do better. Don't be ashamed of your name. Don't feel that if I say my name, I'm going to sound arrogant. There's something that's connected to your name. The thing that's connected to your name is greatness. So when you say your name, you're speaking greatness into the atmosphere. Because God has given you that name. But God has given us a name that's above every name. We know that the name of Yeshua is the highest name. One more time. On 3. Say your name. Yell it. 1, 2, 3. Okay. We got to do it again. My man threw his head back. That was good. That was real good. On the count of 3. Last time. 1. From your belly. 2. If you stand on your feet. 3. That's the greatness. There's greatness that's inside of you. God has given you a purpose. God has given a plan for your life. And I encourage you today to continue to move towards that plan. Thank you.